But that to me immediately, I was like, what do you mean? Which is like, trust me, this person is notorious for increasing their they are notorious for increasing their own prices. And lo and behold, 3 hours later, they actually posted that same property on. Okay, so to give context, initially they posted on their story, and then they didn't put the price. Then they said message me for pricing, and then that was when I sent it to Uche, and Uche was like, "Trust me, today they will increase this price." And 3 hours later, they posted it on their feed, on their Instagram feed. And they didn't increase it by 10 million or 20 or 30. They increased it by 40 million.
40 freaking million.
Jesus. Wow. So they increased this price from 350 million that everyone listed it for, and they listed it for 390 million. Which that's scary.
Nothing prepared me. And because I was seeing that property for the first time that first day, when I saw it, I thought I was going blind. I sent it in the DM. I was saying, share my eye, they pay me. And then I just called him. Like, no, like
this. Uche was so shocked. Uche was so shocked. The fact that he called me immediately.
I was shocked to my bones. F13, that's over $40,000.
The audacity. The audacity.
And there's something I said. I said this is not even a matter of even loading again, or I think this is almost borderline fraud. That's probably close to the commission, the entire commission she'll earn on that, because if we are doing a 10%, for instance, she may be able to negotiate a 10%. That's also close to 39 million that she probably gets on that. So her professional fees probably. So this person has made a cool ATM for nothing. No extra value created.
I would say one thing, because I also want to hold ourselves accountable here. Because Uche actually wanted to call this person's name. Nami convinced him. I'm the one who convinced Uche not to call the name.
So for you guys that watch this channel, you know that me, I want the smoke. I don't care about smoke. In fact, when we got to that, I was singing that song, "Big Smoke" by you were. Tony Montana. Today we're going to be talking about something that is very, very serious and important: overpricing of property in Lagos, land, housing. And we're going to be seeing if it's a reflection of a wider rot in the system, which is called loading by realtors and by people that are stakeholders in the industry, and whether it's a greater reflection of money laundering in the wider sense of this industry, real estate, both globally and in Nigeria, specifically in Lagos. And I'm going to be joined by Tunde. He has been on this channel before, and he's going to be part and parcel of this conversation. Hey, Tunde.
Hey, Uche. How's it going, man?
It's going great. How are you doing today?
Not bad. I'm very glad to be here again. And,
today it's a serious one today.
It's a serious one, and also a very, very interesting one. And hopefully the viewers are able to catch some cruise with us as we explore this topic of prices and houses in Nigeria. I think it's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy as an investor, both like in Nigeria and also in diaspora, Canada specifically, and in the US. What do you think, comparing this market and especially the Lagos market? What do you think about the price range of houses that you see in this market when you compare it with the global market? What's your general overview when you see average pricing at $200,000, even with the terrible exchange rate, $200,000, $300,000, even $600,000? There's some in the Core Atlantic apartments going for $600,000 and above, $2 million and above.
Yeah, I think, man, if I could compare, right, I think the one thing for me that immediately I always ask myself every time I see houses and prices of houses in Nigeria is how did they come up with this price, right? And unfortunately, that question is usually left unanswered. Um, and I think that's the case for most average person that's looking to find that answer of how are you coming up with these prices and how are you
Yeah.
coming up with this listing price for these properties. When I compare to Canada as an example, right? At minimum, at a consumer level or at a buyer level, there are a lot of resources that's available for you to use where you can compare market trends and compare data from historical properties that sold, whether that's within your area or within the same kind of style of property that you're looking to sell, whether that's 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, a basement, whatever it is that your property entails. You have comparable prices that you can really and easily is the key word, compare those prices together. Where I think, in Nigeria, that level of information isn't easily accessible to us, whether that's as investors or just someone who's just particularly interested in the real estate market. And to me, that has been the biggest differentiator when it comes to trying to understand the pricing of the real estate market in Nigeria. And Uche, you said one thing that I would like for you to elaborate on a little bit more, which is the idea of loading. Right, you said you had mentioned that in your introduction.
Yeah. Okay. So, funny enough, I didn't even know what this was till probably like 2 years into this industry. So loading is basically the listing price of this item or this property is 10 million, for instance. You go to a realtor and tell him, I'm willing to pay you 5 or 10% of whatever it is. But if you can negotiate a better pricing with the access to the clients that you have, because the developer doesn't have an official communication on that property and you're only going by what the realtor tells you, sometimes the developer gives them that latitude, that freedom to be able to do that. But sometimes they also do that and they come and tell the developer, we are adding 5 million on top of what the total cost of this property is. We are adding 6 million. Some even add 100% of whatever is, depending on the price of the property. Now, when the client is negotiated and the client sends that money to the developer gives them their commission based off of the agreed 10% of the 10 million. Whatever is on top, he sends it directly. And some real estate developers from Dubai, Denmark, they did call me, and it's funny enough. It's not just like a Nigerian phenomenon, but they started the sensitization campaign where they were saying that they do not accept that, and they were kind of frowning upon it as being unethical. But in the other sense, I've had some that even come to tell me, I'm not going to mention the name, it's also a Dubai developer. The guy literally told me that whatever I agree with my client, I can tell him and he doesn't have any problem. He will send whatever is the excess to me, and you'll be able to do whatever you do with that, and I'll also give you your commission. But the problem with this is that it now gets to a point where if it's 1 million, if it's 2 million, it's very unethical. But you can live with that. But people start getting greedy and people start doing 20%, 30%, 40%, 100%, like I even mentioned. But where it now starts to even get worse, which I believe is one of the major reasons for the overpricing, is where you now start having long chains. So because most times these developers are willing to allow anybody and open the gate for anybody to be able to sell for them, The first, who is called direct mandate, who has the name of the like the direct access to the property, he gets the deal. There is a second person involved. That second person involves a third person. So you're seeing sometimes chains of 5 to 10 realtors involved in a particular property. And now, usually, if you do sell, it will be divided into equal parts of everybody concerned. And this guy says, if this is a 10 million naira deal, and we divide it into 10 places, whereas I was supposed to be getting 10 million, I'm only getting 1 million. Then he says, what if I actually hit it to 20 million? Everybody else involved can get 1 million. I get my 10 and I go. And each person in the chain keeps on adding their price. And then you just have a whole mess. So, that's one thing that I believe that has been like very, very like egregious bastardization of this process that has been responsible for lots of the pricing that we see. And it's not even the pricing the developer has marked up. And I was going to say that again. There are different methods of valuation. You use, like you say, you use historic and other stuff that are there. But coming to the climate that we are in now, the government is just requiring a lot for developers to pay. Nola of Veritas, he always says this, that affordable housing cannot be the onus of private developers because they want to make profit.
Yeah.
So when you see the Lagos state government requesting for approval, registered survey, you're paying for all of these things, registered survey, registered layouts. They even recently they went to mark lots of properties in the Beduleke. Fence permits. You need a permit for a fence, and this is money.
Right,
you're paying for all of this. You're paying for all of these amenities and all of these permits. The developer has to reflect that in his pricing.
For sure.
It must be reflected in the pricing. So it's a whole lot of factors coming together to just increase these prices in such an astronomical way. And I believe that is something that we need to look at with laser focused lenses to see how we can kind of mitigate this abuse and make houses actually more affordable. I mean, we know it's on the high side, but let people not be duped.
Yeah, I know you. I think you explained that perfectly well. And the situation you explained is how we land in what's that Olamide song? Loading. That's it. That's such
it's an old song. Was that not COVID? That's when he released.
That was his COVID. Yeah. That was his COVID hit. Yeah. That was one of his biggest songs during that era, like 2021 or 2022. Mm-hmm. But that's exactly. Even though I think he was talking about something completely different. But that's the idea, right? Is when you start adding. Middle person on top of one property, and everyone is targeting along their own price tag, right? Even if you're using data, you lose track of at what point does the data actually reflect reality, right? And very, 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 very funny situation that actually happened yesterday. I think you already know what I'm about to talk about. But for the viewers and listeners, yesterday, right, I was scrolling through my timeline, and there was one specific property that I just noticed that everyone was posting the same property, right? I'm talking realtor number, hey, same property. Realtor number 2, same property. I'm like, okay, something is going on here, because why is everyone just posting the same property? So then I started sending it to Uche, right? I was like, okay, Uche, please keep an eye on this property. Just keep an eye on this property, because why is everyone posting this same exact property? And I'm talking different people, different brokerage and firms and everything. And I sent one specific person to Uche.
She didn't put the price.
Oh my god! And she didn't put the price at the time that I sent it to you.
But others put the price.
Other people put the price, because other people were saying the house was, I think it was 350 million naira.
Yeah, 350 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
350 million, right? They were listing the price, they were listing the property for 350 million. But this person didn't put the price. And I think they put a message like, message me for the price or something to that extent.
I hate that. Like, I detest that. I mean, message me for pricing, whether it's a vendor that is selling something worth 5K or millions. But go on.
Yeah. And maybe that's red flag number one, right? Like,
Yeah.
Why is that price not public information? Why is that
why do I have to message you?
Price? Right. Because then how do I guarantee that the price you're telling Uche is the same price you're telling Tunde? That if you're not making that, if you're not making that public level information. But anyways, they had that message, and I don't know, Uche, you have to tell me if it was because of that message is why you thought what you thought. But immediately, Uche said to me, Tunde, watch, this person is going to hijack their price and increase the price by at least 10 to 20 million. And that to me immediately I was like, hey, what do you mean? Which is like, trust me, this person is notorious for increasing they are notorious for increasing their own prices. And lo and behold, 3 hours later, they actually posted that same property on. Okay, so to give context, initially they posted on their story, and then they didn't put the price. Then they said, message me for pricing. And then that was when I sent it to Uche, and Uche was like, trust me, today they will increase this price. And 3 hours later, they posted it on their feed, on their Instagram feed. And they didn't increase it by 10 million or 20 or 30. They increased it by 40 million.
40 freaking million.
Jesus. Wow. So they increased this price from 350 million that everyone listed it for, and they listed it for 390 million. Which that's scary.
Honestly,
is scary.
I saw it first, and he sent me the earlier that day. He sent me the property, like I said maybe the developer is actually trying to sell and he's just making a push. And then he said this particular person did not post the price. It's a very, if we call the names now, everybody would know.
Everybody would know.
Everybody would know. I said because a client was looking for something in Aja about a month ago. And so I was trying to source for him. And this thing was on her page was 65 million naira. I was about to send it to the client and say the pricing, but just let me use image search on Google. Thank God for this image search. And I just did the image search. I saw another realtor.
Uche, you just listen, I want to call that out to anyone that's listening. Image search.
Yeah.
That is such a key tool that you can actually use to uncover a lot of information on whether that's a property or whatever it is that you're looking for. Image search tool on Google. So I just have to highlight that. I think that's
it's very, very important. Yeah, I think that's worth calling out. So I did the image search, and then I saw another, like a couple of other realtors posting it, and it was 55 million. And I was so happy I did that because if I sent it as 65 billion to the client, and the client did find out from other people and knew the pricing, that makes me come out as different or having an ulterior motive. But this has been a constant theme with this person, and it's a different thing if you're saying my professional fees, which most of those big guys do, my professional fees 10%. Or you have a flat fee. This is not your professional fee. This is what you're saying is the price of the property.
Right.
What gives the realtor the power to increase the price of a property without informing the developer, or when they are not the developer? And so it was even going out of that, one out of other many stuff where I've, comparing with other realtors and saying this person has done this. So I told him it will likely be 10 million or 20 million. I think that was the highest I've seen so far, 20 million. Nothing prepared me. And because I was seeing that property for the first time that first day, when I saw it, I thought I was going blind. I said to him in DM, I was saying, share my eye, they pay me. And then I called him like no, like this is the
Uche
same
was so
property, right?
shocked. Uche was so shocked. The fact that he
Like
called me
I
immediately.
was shocked to my bones. The F country, that's over $40,000
The
on top of
audacity.
the.
The audacity.
And there's something I said. I said this is not even a matter of even loading again, or I think this is almost borderline fraud. What do you think?
Yeah, no, sincerely speaking, it is. Because, if I wasn't aware of the fact that this property is being sold for 350 million by others, right? And this is the only person whom I'm seeing this property for, or from rather. I'm paying that 390 if I'm actually interested in the property, right? Now I'm paying that 390 on top of whatever their professional fee is, to your point, right? So how do you justify the 40M? Like, how do you justify that difference in what others are listing this property for in comparison to what you're listing it for, on top of your professional fee? That is borderline fraud.
And that's probably close to the commission, the entire commission she'll earn on that. Because if we are doing a 10%, for instance, she may be able to negotiate a 10%. That's also close to 39 million that she probably gets on that. So her professional fees probably. So this person has made a cool ATM for nothing.
That's
no extra value created. The same property.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's the scary part. I feel like that
people should not get away. People should not get away with that. What do you think?
Yeah, we have to start calling these things out. And let me just be honest.
Yeah, people should not be getting away with this sort of behavior. This is bad behavior.
And I would say one thing, because I also want to hold ourselves accountable. Yeah. Because Uche actually wanted to call this person's name. Now me convinced I'm silent. I'm the one who convinced Uche not to call the name.
So for you guys that watch this channel, you know that me, I want the smoke. I don't care about smoke. In fact, when we called today, I was singing that song, "Big Smoke" by
Oh yeah, you were.
Tony Montana.
I
want all this smoke, but I think that's one of the things that I've always been sounding like a broken record. There's enough data that is needed in this industry to sanitize this industry, and when there are lots of realtors, and it's a good thing. Like when you told me, okay, let's not actually be very controversial and whatever, but when realtors start making money and they start doing well in the industry, everybody just says, okay, let everybody do whatever they want to do. It's not my business so far as me, I'm making money. But it's kind of like killing the industry. So there's a video of my page on a tour of this 5-bedroom property in Vintage Park Estate, Lekki, Ikate. It's just close to where Burna Boy lives. It's literally a stone's throw from Burna Boy's house. And my assistant got wind of the information that, okay, this is up for sales. And then we contacted. So this was a semi-direct mandate. So it was a person before the person that the developer gave all like the keys and also the access to the property. So he told us that this 5-bedroom, fully detached duplex is going for 550 million. And we're going to see it, do just an impromptu tour, whatever. So I started shooting the video. I had already called the price of this property. Halfway into this tour, this guy gets a text message and says, this property is no longer 550 million, it's 650. It's actually 650. Actually 650 million. And in my head, what I'm saying, like between that morning and that time where I actually came there and I did everything that was done there, how did that extra value of 100 million come about? When I went home, I actually started searching and I just saw different prices from different realtors. Some were saying 580, some 620, some even 680. I said, what's the way forward? Like, what is literally the way forward? The same thing happened in Pinot Beach Estate, where this client was interested in buying this piece of land. I think it was 400 million. And the guy was stalling, but he contacted me a week later, and these people said this stuff is now 520 million in 1 week. And I think that time the dollar was they said it was the dollar. No change in such a short time. Goes back to what you say. How do people set these prices? Like they just like, timbo, you just add 10 million to it.
Yeah.
There's no data driven, there's no there's one political candidate I used to say, wealth without enterprise. People just want to make money and in their, like, that's the Nigerian thinking. You're smart, you're a sharp guy, what did they call it? Sweatless. And we even have like some religious lingo.
Legals that we used to justify the nonsense.
Sweatless labor. Sweatless. And it's destroying this industry. So, so you're going to see, and that's literally what a bubble is. So like a bubble is literally increase in price without a change in fundamentals. So you see, price is soaring, and there's no infrastructure that was added to that place. There's no new property that probably added value to that place. There's breaking all of the rules, but yet the prices are going up. It's very, very dangerous. It's a very, very dangerous place to be, because before a recession, you have a bubble. And then when everything collapses, it's going to be so terrible.
Yeah. And the other thing that I was thinking about as you were explaining that, first of all, that situation,
it's crazy.
Come on. Like crazy. How? And as you were explaining that situation, what I was thinking too is, if I'm the realtor with the lowest price on market for this same property that everyone is listing for, 600 million, 650 million now, and I'm listing it for 550 million. Even me, I'll start feeling somehow now, right? Like,
now me holy pass.
Like even me too, I'll start, and then that's to your point, that's the scary part, because then it causes domino effect, right?
Yeah.
It causes that domino effect of, someone of FOMO, if you want to call it that, right? Fear of missing out on this extra 40 million, this extra 20 million. So before you know it, that price just continues on the high and high, right? It continues on the high and high, and that's exactly what happens. Is we find ourselves in a bubble. So I guess to maybe just kind of wrap the conversation up. I have like two questions for you, right? As we stand today, right now in the Nigerian market, right, with just everything that's going on from demolition and concerns and things to that extent, would you say that we are in a bubble, or do you anticipate that the market will cool off or would cool down a little bit considering just all the different economical factors that's going on right now, and infrastructure factors as well?
Okay. It's difficult to actually say we're in a bubble, because there's so much demand. The housing deficit is 2 million plus in Lagos. You have 2 million plus people who need homes that don't have homes, and population is growing at such an astronomical rate in Lagos. But I think about 22 million now. Some people say it's 20, some people say it's 22 million. So you always have that demand. If anything, when the dust settles, there's this whole Lagos master plan that Lagos is trying to build, trying to clear up the waterways, trying to clear up drainages, trying to remove illegal buildings. And confidence is going to come back to the system, and more stringent. I'm even noticing with my diasporan clients nowadays, people are being more serious about due diligence, because due diligence is actually not such a never-ending process that never comes to an end. You literally can go to Alausa, go to the local government, go to the high court, search all of these things and see if it's so. People are kind of like taking more consideration to these things, even though things would cool off for a bit. But I believe that long term, the projection is still positive for investment in Lagos. Homes developers are still borrowing money, and developers are still coming up with new development, and people are still buying. Developers are doing road shows in London, in the US. Um, this kind of like probably affecting the market sentiment. But funny enough, it's not just in Lagos. In Delta State, there were some demolitions recently. Enugu State. I think more and more governors are like and are seeing the value of land and seeing the value of like having a planned sort of arrangement. And so I think every like eventually things will still balance out and level up. And hopefully it's gonna be like a net positive.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. And speaking of due diligence, I think you kind of mentioned um you kind of mentioned some of those things already, and then some of the necessary steps, that's needed. I actually think when we first started talking, you had shown me this really thorough list of the different things that you need to follow and the different steps that you need to take from a due diligence standpoint. And I'm sure you still have that list, right? You still have those
Yeah,
like step
yeah,
by step. Yeah. And
yeah,
if there's anyone that's watching this, I mean, there's the information is there on the screen as well. And you're looking to invest or buy properties in Nigeria. I honestly, sincerely think the first step is due diligence.
yeah.
And like I mentioned, Uche does have that really thorough list of things to look out for and steps to follow. So I definitely recommend that you reach out to him. But this has been fun, man. This has been a really, really great conversation, Uche.
Yeah, same here. Same here. There was something I was going to say, but I actually have forgotten about it. So maybe
Next
maybe in the
episode now.
next episode. Yeah, yeah. We just keep this simple and sweet. Thank you so much, Cindy, for joining. Thank you all for watching. What do you think? Drop your comments in the comment section. And this is all about shining the light, because these things need to be talked about. This sort of behavior kind of thrives where there's secrecy and nobody's saying it. Back to even the story that we referred to. The next day, this person actually did reduce their pricing back to the normal 350.
Oh,
I
did
don't know
they?
if there was. Yeah, they did eventually. Eventually. So, like, if people do not say anything about these things, and at the time she posted it and I went to the comments, people would just say, God, when? And then the people would say, oh, I'll never build in Lagos. Those the normal, they'll demolish this. Yeah. But, we are going to be talking about more and more of these things to kind of do our bit to sanitize this industry and see that, all of this mismatches will be dealt with. Still, this was fun. Thank you so much, Tunde, for joining us. Kindly like, kindly share, kindly subscribe. See you later.
Yes.
Bye.
Take care.